This is Anthony Oliveira with Trigger Warning Conjugate. This is part 2 to our Instagram Q&A. Hope you guys enjoy. I'm just going to start reading these questions. Some of them probably need a video for themselves to get into full detail of what you guys are asking, but I'll do my best. We'll see how far we can get here. So, Winstein Queen, black and yellow, bring it back. Talking about the t-shirts. Those actually didn't do that well. They took about a year to sell all of them, so we might bring them back. I like black and yellow, so we'll see what happens with that. I'd like to bring them back. If you guys want those, let us know. Trainer Stan asks, what are good options for transitioning into geared powerlifting from raw or just being a beginner? Should you start with loose, less aggressive gear, be a certain strength level first, etc.? So I think that if you want to get into equipment, you should get into equipment. The whole, I need to squat this much before I get into gear, there is some value in that. You should have a good base, a strong base. But if you want to be in equipment, get in equipment. I would suggest starting with loose gear and find a crew that can help you hands-on the first couple times you get into equipment, because there can be different things hands-on where if this fits loose or this fits tight, they can help you find stuff that fits you, and usually they'll have stuff that you can try before you buy it. So that's always helpful. Generally, I would say start with looser equipment. Get a pair of briefs. Try squatting in those. If you like that, ask someone if you can try their shirt, and so on, and go from there. Usually, people really like squatting in briefs, and then they put a shirt on, and they realize it's pretty difficult. So that's usually the telltale if they want to stay in equipment or not. Again, I would suggest just looser gear and just go for it and see if you like it. It's not for everyone. Obviously, I live and die by gear, so but I would say that you should have a pretty good raw strength level. The first time you get into a gym is not the time to put on gear. I would say you should have maybe a year of training or at least an athletic background before you start putting on equipment. Holy shit, it's Tom. What is the purpose of adding bands to your workouts, and what kind of exercise can you add them to? So that could be a 10-part video. It's called accommodating resistance. Makes things heavier at the top. With bands, it'll help with an overspeed eccentric, which will help with optimal eccentrics and teach you how to rebound faster. They also can add in different strength curves, where if you put a band on a cable machine, it's going to make it hard through the whole movement, increase your pump levels and whatnot, as well as make you, stronger at different angles, with different grips, and also it helps with finishing lifts, because at the top, that's generally where people miss, right? At the top of the lift, the top of a deadlift. Bands are going to help you get faster and go through that sticking point, whatever you want to call it, and help you finish lifts. Behemoth Barbell. How would you incorporate slingshots into a program for raw and geared people? So slingshots or rams or whatever those new ones that they put out are called, they help with overload. They can either be just a variation. If you're running conjugate and you want to do a slingshot bench, throw a slingshot on and do it. I like them for saving your shoulders. They're helpful with raw people to a point. I think repping bigger weights than you'd be able to do reps with is helpful with confidence and also lockout. With geared people, I think it's a good way to handle a little bit of an overload without getting into your bench shirt, and sort of save your shoulders. If you are getting into a bench shirt at some point later in the training cycle, and you want to handle heavier weights, but when it comes down to it, it's just a variation. You can put it in as you see fit. I wouldn't use them all the time if you're a raw lifter, especially because you'll lose a lot of your bottom end strength with your bench. Behemoth Barbell. For someone with an overdeveloped chest and front delts, how would you recommend they go about training and build up their back while not 100% getting away from chest and delts? How to correct muscular imbalances? It's a very long-winded question. A lot of that is going to be positional stuff. If your front delts and your chest are overdeveloped, you're probably benching rounded forward like this. A lot of that's going to be positional. So you have to keep training your bench, but I would stay away from front raises or pec flies if you're already overdeveloped there. you want to be doing your rear delts, side delts, upper back, that sort of work first after your main movement, and then hit, maybe if you want to hit your pecs a little bit towards the end when you're already fatigued. I would make the focus of your training the opposite muscles that are overgrown. So if your chest and your front delts are overgrown, you want to be hitting rear delt and upper back a lot to help compensate for that. Tons of tricep as well, because if your triceps are more developed, that'll help finish your bench, and you're not going to be using your shoulders to finish your bench or rotating over your face like this. But a lot of that might have to, you might have to see a PT person for that, because if you're super overdeveloped to the point where it's hurting you positionally, there's a lot more going on there than just exercises are going to help. You need a professional to help you do that. BB Farmer, take us through a typical max effort lower day for you. Morning to night, how do you prepare throughout the day, or even the day before, if that's the case, during training, immediately following, and to the end of the day? So for me, max effort lower, we all kind of like live and die by that conjugate, like everybody loves max effort lower, heavy squats, heavy deadlifts. So I start focusing the day before, make sure that I'm hydrated, make sure that I'm eating enough, and then make sure that I get enough rest and sleep. The day of, since I'm training in the evening, I like to make sure I get in at least 3 meals before I go in and train at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and make sure that I'm drinking close to a gallon of water in that time as well. Lots of sodium to carry kind of a heavy bloat. I like being bloated when I take a big squat or a deadlift. And then, train, and then afterwards have a big meal, and then sort of make it a point to relax after I train. It's the same as any other training day, but for some reason, max effort lower, a lot seems to ride on that mentally for me and for most people, honestly. So I think it's important. The big thing is hydration and rest. And I think people miss the hydration part and the rest part because everybody's up late playing on their phones or whatever. So I really try and get that extra hour or two of sleep because I know I'm going to need it for that day to really push through. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, make sure to leave something in the comments or shoot us a message. We'd love to help you.